How's it going, YouTube? And we're back. It's your boy BigSmootho and Sociopath Batman. Today we want to ask the question: Is slice of life anime bad? I don't know. So recently, Sociopath Batman and he never watched any slice of life anime.
Nope.
So I put him onto Toradora. For those who have watched Toradora, you'll understand what he was getting himself into. So, with that being said, I would like to ask Sociopath Batman his thoughts on slice of life anime.
All right. So, going into this, I had already said, I believe it was probably on the very first episode, that I wasn't really super into the idea of delving into the idea of slice of life anime, simply because I wasn't the genre that I was I would say per se would used to. It wasn't the one that really drove me to want to watch stuff before, at least thought wise. I mean, I was kind of all the action pack, magical stuff, horror, anything that had a little bit of gore in it, and action. That was usually what was that was where I was at. So to go into slice of life where it was more calm, in certain aspects, at least, compared to some of the animes I've gone into, I didn't know exactly what I was to be expected. So going into Toradora, I generally looked at what the summary of what this was supposed to be about, and the general idea that they give you is that it's about two people that happen to be neighbors that each are in love with each other's best friends. But the problem is that they don't really get along very well, per se, at least not in their first meeting. And it begins to have a situation where they end up working it out that they are going to work together to help each other out. Uh, Basically, get each other to fall in like the others to fall in love with the best friends to fall in love with them. So I kind of had an idea of how this was going to go. I had the general idea of seeing this sort of this story kind of play out, at least in certain shows or movies. So I had a general idea of, oh, I know what's going to happen. But for me, it's not so much of knowing what's going to happen, it's how they are, what the story is going to be to get there. So I was interested in how they were going to get me interested into the story, that I kind of already had an idea of where it was going to lead to. And I have to say, for a show that was, I believe, about 24, 25 episodes long, um, going into like the very first episode, it definitely was able to grab me in. The characters were humorous. From the very get go, you're introduced into the world of these two high school students. I believe they were high school students. Or they might have been middle school. I want to say it might have been high school. They looked like they were in high school age. But you're introduced to Taiga, and I want to say his name is Ryuji. I don't know if I pronounced that right. Um, but they both go to this high school, and Ryuji is in love with Taiga's best friend, Minori. And Taiga is in love with uh, Ryuji's best friend. They just call him Kitamura a lot, so I called him Ida because he kind of looks like Ida from uh, My Hero Academia. So I basically, when I saw him, I was like, oh shoot, it's Ida. It's going to be the Ida character. And many of the episodes, there are Ida-esque moments that he has. Just when he gets kind of loud and announces things, it's kind of very Ida-ish from My Hero Academia. So I really I kind of enjoyed I enjoyed his character a lot.
He loves
Uh,
dropping My Hero Academia, by the way.
but my first impression of Ryuji was I got a little bit of a. If you've ever seen, if any of the viewers have seen it, I believe you've definitely seen it. Yu Yu Hakusho. At least when you first meet him and you meet his mom is very. My first impression of her, I thought she was kind of one of those very popular women that like to go out and to the bars, and she gets men to buy her drinks, and she basically, without actually giving them, a good time, gives them a good time. Like, just basically her company. I thought that was what she was. Turns out, you find out later on, his mom is just a really hardworking person, but she is very popular with the men. Give or take certain assets that she has, that she was given at least. Um,
So I have a question for you, really
hmm,
quick. From the anime Toradora, I
hmm.
want to ask you this question: What, who is your favorite character from Toradora, and why?
Well, see, that's the funny thing is, the character who I felt like I would probably be best friends with was Taiga, actually, because of her personality. She is very hard to get to like at times because she is just so difficult. Even when Reiji's helping her, she keeps referring to him as her dog, and uh, uh, she just always talks down to him, no matter what. On their first meeting, she nearly tries to like kill him and destroy like his house, and then he helps her out because she's got a cold by giving her food. And her whole attitude towards him was, "Oh well, I think the gods and the farmers that grew the food, but that's no one else." And you're thinking like, "Well, shit, like you just got helped by this guy. You almost killed him. You broke into his house. She basically breaks into his house while he's sleeping, and that's your thanks to him." Like, so, but weirdly enough, it's just her character, her
That's just
um
the type of person she is. Yep.
yeah, it's something about her that she's real. She's real to herself. At least for the most part, you feel like she's real. Later on, I get the feeling that she's kind of hiding things from people, but for the most part, she's real. She's not trying to be someone that she's not. She's very. If you like her, you like her. If you don't, you don't. But she's not the type of person that really cares if you like her, because she's just she's just so difficult to be around at times. But for whatever reason, it was just her personality meshed with mine. I felt like somehow I would be best friends with this girl. Like, this would be someone who I would hang out with, and would I would be able to share the same type of uh, personality traits with her at times. Like, I felt there's a lot of times where I just look at people and just like, and I have that way that she looks at people, just like, stupid dogs. Like,
So like I had a couple videos here ready to show, depending on what was your answer there, and it seems you chose Tiger. So let me go ahead and play this really quickly.
Awa really was taking a shower, and she was all boom and boing and bam! And he doesn't need to know that!
Yet there's this. Yep, that's a perfect
Must be super rough.
palm top tiger. I sucker! Use a tissue, damn it! Forget. I guess every family has its issues. Here, a few spots.
So a little shout out to Sociopath Batman and his favorite character. This is a character he said was his favorite from watching Toradora for the first time.
Hey.
What? Quit your yapping there, mongrel. To figure out how to, night, you'll never guess what the show was about. You overreact and insist on taking... Hold on! Kitamura's with some freaky person! How'd that happen?
Yeah, seems to be having some issues.
What are you, a sexist? Come on, pass!
And
It's all my
Not the
fault.
dead zombie
Marion
look.
got the wrong idea, because I kept inviting my... When I was at your house, I felt... feel...
But yeah, that's just a quick look at the character that Sociopath Batman said he liked from watching Toradora. So this next question I want to ask you, I want to know, in your honest opinion, from watching a slice of life anime for the very first time, because earlier you explained that you kind of knew what you were going to get into, but for you, you like to see how it gets there.
Yeah.
I want to know first if you believe slice of life anime is bad or good, and two, I want to know that any of the routes that the slice of life anime portrayed went in a different direction than you thought it would go.
I definitely can say it was very good. At least the ones I watched, because I ended up watching both Toradora and Your Name. I believe that the ones I've seen so far, and I'm definitely looking into to checking out some other ones that are available to me. I can definitely say that I would that it definitely made me, after watching the first few episodes, it definitely made me want to continue on through it. Um, because it was just there was something about it that connected with me. But I definitely say that the route that it took, it did take a little bit of a slight curve in somewhere in between. It actually had me doubt at some point if what I was going and what I believe was going to happen would happen. Um, but I definitely felt like it kept itself on track enough that it wasn't like a hard, right turn. It was, it was a right turn that basically gave me uh, a little bit of a side story that almost made me believe that, hey, this could go, in a different direction. But ultimately, it did kind of, end up the way I thought it was. The only gripe that I do have with Toradora is I do feel like the last episode was a little bit of a cop out. I think there was a lot of build up throughout the entire
All
series.
right, so
Everything.
what do you just said there? Now, I know you didn't answer the question if you think slice of life is bad. I know you said you like the fact that you got into it. Now, where you said you believe the final episode was a cop out, I want to know what made you say the last episode was a cop out for the anime Torador.
All right. So without going into too much detail of the story itself, you spend a lot of the time with Ryuji and Taiga trying to work towards getting the courage to talk to each of their crushes. Taiga does talk to Kitamura somewhat early on, but it was it was almost like he shoved off the whole thing. It was very like the moment it took place, it was almost like it went over his head. And so he ended up, becoming friends with her. But she's sitting there telling him that she likes him a lot, that she actually likes him, and he's like, yeah, we'll be best of friends. And so they already established early on that she tries to talk to him, but after that, she always gets really nervous around him. So there's not a whole lot of build up between them, and when there is, it's little bits and pieces. So it's slow and gradual, and so that's why I thought, why I felt like, hey, this could go in a different direction than I thought it was. You got Ryuji, who is has the crush on who I like to call Madoka Magica, because that's what she looked like. She literally is the same voice actress, same design, everything. But he was in love with Minori, and you see a little bit more character build with her and him through through the story. You feel like he's actually talks with her, hangs out with her a little bit more.
You
There is,
remember, not to cut you off here, but you remember she ended up liking him. But
yeah,
remember the reason she didn't, go out with him was because she seen how much Tiger needed him.
well,
I thought
and
that was a pretty good dynamic.
yeah, and that's the thing too, is that you get a lot of build up with him working towards that, and in the midst of it, you see what I was already seeing was happening with is that all the help that Ryuji is doing for Taiga, it's building this relationship between them. And a lot of people all see it, and everyone keeps calling him an idiot that he doesn't see it, because you have another character that comes in towards the middle of the show named Ami, who's actually a old friend of Kitamura's, who basically is she's basically who helps, it's the character that kind of helps equal out the Taiga character. She's that one that's going to one up Taiga constantly and kind of be up in Taiga's face a lot and kind of challenge her. And so you have this character that gets introduced, who is the she's kind of fake. But a lot of people that the main characters already know that she's kind of a fake character, while everyone else has to kind of learn. And I don't think really that they ever fully learn, because she always kind of still portrayed a little bit, even when you do see her later on, she still kind of portrays that like, oh, I'm a nice girl, but at the same time, she's kind of a bitch at times. But she's real. She's real when she's a bitch. Like and she's only that way with the main characters a lot of the time. Like you really get to see her be that main character, especially with Ryuji. So the thing is that you have this you have Taiga, who's building this relationship with Ryuji who's just looking at it as, hey, we're friends, whatever. But Taiga is actually starting to feel towards Ryuji a little bit. And then you have the Minori part, where Minori is, that she's feeling towards Ryuji, but you also can kind of tell, even before it's anything's ever said, that she can kind of tell that Taiga is in need of that, like you were saying. So I understood that was going on. And then you also get the character Ami, who, because Ryuji sees her for who she is, and he doesn't, fall for a lot of her BS, that ends up building another character who kind of falls for Ryuji. Why I have an issue, why I feel like the last episode was kind of a cop-out, is by the end, you have the declaration basically that both Taiga and Minori were both in love with Ryuji, which we kind of already saw that happen. We also get the thing that Ami definitely has a thing for Ryuji. Why I felt that the whole thing was a cop out was because we build up all that to the end. We get within the last few episodes or so what we would hope to see, and then the last episode something happens that's just kind of like, it leaves you kind of feeling like, okay, I get it, it's not a bad ending, but at the same time, all this stuff gets built up. You have Minori that steps aside for Taiga. You have Ami that feels towards Ryuji. And then Taiga kind of takes a step out of the picture and basically says, hey, I got to go work on myself. I'll see you later. I love you, but I'll see you later. And it felt it was a cop-out, because here you have these two other girls who do feel towards Ryuji, especially Minori, who stepped out of the way for Taiga. And then Taiga's like, oh, yeah, well, I'm going to go do my own thing real quick. See you later. I felt like that was kind of a cop-out. I felt like you have these two other girls who do have the feeling towards Ryuji, who can't really do anything towards that, so because Taiga stepped out.
Your problem with the ending was not the fact that Taiga had to do what Taiga had to do. It was the fact that Ryuji didn't pick anyone else.
It wasn't so much that he didn't pick anyone else. It was that you have these characters that knew exactly how Taiga felt, who basically didn't act upon their feelings, and then Taiga just kind of like, peace out, like at the end. That was my only issue with that.
For me, all right, let's go into Taiga's character really quickly. Taiga was all over the place.
Yeah.
Her pops, she had that, the issues with her pops. When it came to Ryuji, he was literally taking care of her.
Yeah.
So for her to do that in the end, I kind of understand it, because she decided to, hey, I'm leaning too much on you. I need to go and better myself so I can have something to give you, and it's not always one sided. That's to me, that's what I think what happened with Tiger's situation in the end. Now, when it comes to Minori, you seen how hardworking Minori is.
Yeah.
That is a lot of energy, hard work, dedication for what she did. As far as her and Ryuji, I could understand that wasn't going to happen because if we just think about it really quick logically, if we put two hardworking individuals together, they're 9 times out of 10 they're never going to really have time for each other. They'll always be off doing something else and probably end up meeting someone else on the job. So I can understand why that didn't happen. And we go to the one girl you were saying who you called a bitch. Like, her job was actually being a show bitch. Like, that's
Yeah.
what they call it over there. So it was kind of accurate on to that end. He couldn't get with her because of how fake she could be at times,
Yeah.
and he would just want her to be herself at all times. So for an example, I don't know if you remember, like, when they're out in public, she talks down on him,
Yeah.
but behind the scenes she likes him. So I know for me personally, I wouldn't want that type of relationship.
Oh, no, I
But
wouldn't either.
now,
And I'm not even mad. Like, it's not so much a thing of that I wanted him to get together with either of them. I think it was just the fact that they both kind of sort of step aside for Tyga, and then Tyga, and I get Tyga saying, "Hey, I need to work on myself," but it was just like we get all this buildup that was, that leads up to it, and then it's just like at the end, it's just like, okay, well, my friends have stepped aside, but now I got to go work on myself, and it's just like peace out. And that was my only thing, was like we had all this buildup, and there's all these really great moments, like
thank you, Jacob.
really great
Appreciate
moments.
that.
What was it?
Jacob Miller 87 says Big Smootho is the man. Appreciate that. Sociopath Batman is as well.
But I just felt like there was these very good moments that were throughout the show where you really connect with the characters, really connect with what they're feeling. And so I was really wanting to see, at the end, this to go, to basically this to end off on what I thought was going to be the good note was, and then it just kind of was, they just kind of snatch it from me a little bit at the end. Like they don't say that they broke up, but they also kind of like, because she took off, it's just kind of like,
he's
well, what
left
the
there.
heck?
Yeah, and like for me, like to my understanding of Toradora, we're talking about slice of life and things of that nature. The way I feel about that, let's say, because they're in high school, right? So you remember how some people have high school sweethearts,
Yeah,
and some of those people who have high school sweethearts, after they leave high school, they're not together anymore.
yeah,
That's how I view the situation between Taiga and Ryuji. For an example, you know how you reach a certain point in your life where you're growing in the opposite direction than where you were before.
yeah,
All right, so I feel like that's what Taiga was what she was going about, because as I said earlier, Taiga, she literally relied on Ryuji. So if her and Ryuji were to go, further than what they were going, right? And Ryuji decided to step out of the picture, Taiga would not only fall, she would fall way lower because she didn't know who she was. And I understand about that rug. I kind of felt the same way when I first saw it. I was sitting there like, oh my god! So you telling me all this buildup? You're telling me all the people that moved out of the way for that to happen? I was upset when I first saw it. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was upset, but then I started thinking, and I started thinking about what happened. When I was going to school in Georgia, when I was going to school in Mississippi, when I was going to school in California, and I was looking at all the high school, middle school couples, and eventually what happened to majority of them. You know. And it was literally on the same lines of what happened to Taiga. Now, for viewer satisfaction, I would have loved Taiga and Ryuji to be together at that end episode.
Well, yeah, I mean, there were several moments throughout that show where you just what they're leading to it, and there's even there's a brief moment early on, and I really wished that they would have showed the picture, because there's early on in the within the first few episodes, Ryuji finds a bunch of these really blurry pictures of Kitamura that Taiga has, and he offers to take pictures for her, some better pictures. So she's always like, there's always a little random moments where she's like, I want you to get a picture of that one. I want you to get a picture of this. And so there's a moment later on where she's taken a bunch of pictures, I guess, of herself and some of the ones that I guess he's taken, and she's going through them, and you see her come across it, and it's a very split moment, but you know that the image that she looked at was not Kitamura, that it was Ryuji. And she has this brief, like, moment where she stares at it, and that was like the first connection I saw. That was like, hey, what, they're already showing that she's having, even if it's just this I don't know what this is feeling, it's still a it's still like a I feel something towards this person. And so that was that first moment, and then later on you get very much more of these moments that happen. The one that like just freaking was, I think, to me, was the one that grabbed me the best, was the Christmas episode where he shows up at her house. I'm not going to ruin it. I'm just going to say he shows up at her house. It is a great episode. But the way the episode ends, it's just, like, oh man, like this is where it gets deep. This is where it freaking turns, and you're just like, oh man, you're on for the roller coaster has hit the top of that bank, and it's about to drop, and you
Ready
just have
for
to
the
hold
drop.
on.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
story goes into your brain.
yeah. I mean, and my stomach was hitting me, and I was like, and the sucky part was, I hit that episode, and then I had to go to work, so I couldn't even finish that episode until later. So I'm sitting there going at work, going like, oh man, like, oh, what is going to happen? Like, oh man, like, and I just, it actually got me. I was like, man, like, but it was good feeling though, because it connected me with the show. It was one of those feelings that I have felt before, in a situation where, with, like I said, without giving, way too much detail, it's just this idea of knowing what you want, but putting someone else ahead of what you want, because you think that their needs, it's better for them. It's, you're looking out for their needs, but in reality, it just tears you apart. It's hurting you, and that having that moment, I know I've had that moment, and in that same way towards people and stuff, and so it just really, dug deep with me.
Really quick, we had King Giora. Could you talk about Back Mongolian Chop Squad? Okay, King Giora, I would love to talk about Back Mongolian Chop Squad, but here's the thing. I love the fact that it's music, a music slice of life anime. I love the fact that the main character had the tedious life, and then he picked up the instrument because he was inspired. But let me tell you why I cannot honestly talk about it. I don't know if you ever heard of this anime called Fuuka, or actually the manga. That's what I started watching. Similar to what Sociopath Batman was saying about how he was feeling when he had to go to work and things of that sort. Me reading the manga of Fuuka, literally, I was on vacation with my wife and my kids. We were all, supposed to be hanging out. But I made the mistake of reading Fuuka. Now, Fuuka is also a manga slash anime that deals with music. So they ended up putting a band together. I don't want to kind of ruin it too much, but in the manga, Fuuka get truck cut. And I want to tell you, at a place I was supposed to be happy, I was devastated. Like, I literally was lying in a hotel bed with my arm off the side of the bed. My wife just asked me, what is wrong with you? And I was like, Fuuka. And I kind of felt silly because, we're on vacation, supposed to have a good time. But that was my experience with watching, or reading the manga that dealt with music. And although Back Mongolian Chop Squad is a actually pretty good anime, I don't want to travel back down that road. The food could hurt me deeply. Oh my god, bro! I wasn't prepared for that. That was the first time I actually read a slice of life anime, and I was invested. And because I was invested, Truck Hunt made me suffer. There's a lot of different ones like that. Your Lie in April. I look. I just wanted to go away from that one. So my question to you again, Sociopath Batman, because you didn't really give me a legitimate answer as far as, do you believe slice of life anime is bad?
Well, I've only seen two slice of life anime so far, so my take with it has been good. I haven't had a bad take on it, but because I've only had two that I've watched, and because they've both been good, it's kind of hard to say that I've had. Like you said, you've had some bad experiences, but they were good shows. I haven't had any bad experiences yet. So much, like I said, like Toradora, I felt like it was good for the most part. For telling us a good story, did a good job for making me laugh when it needed to make me laugh. I definitely had that. I definitely felt the emotions. When I felt like I needed to feel the emotions. So my experience with Slice of Life is that it's good, but like I said, I do know that I've heard that there have been some slice of life animes that have not been uh everyone's cup of tea. I've heard some of them are just a little bit odd. You have to, be really interested in that type of story for it to really work. But
How's it going, Bella Utopia? So, for what I'm hearing from you is, you're saying from what you've seen so far, they're good. I have many more recommendations for you. With that being said, I have 3D Con no Kanoji. I felt like that was really good. The graphics to it is not so great, but the way the story is set up and how the main character is the protagonist, he's kind of on the weird side. So for me, I can kind of vibe with that because I'm a little bit weird in the way I talk and say things as well. So it got me invested early. If I say more slice of life, real girl, rent a girlfriend. Uh, Rent a Girlfriend is really good, by the way. Like, that one's hilarious. That will put your jaw on the ground and roll out your tongue back in the Looney Tune days, back in the days cartoon.
someone mentioned, and I believe you actually reiterated with it. I believe this is the one you were talking about. Is that don't you know I'm Satomura or
Oh, Sakamoto.
yeah, where he's
Sakamoto
basically
Daisuka.
like bad things happen to him, but he always finds a way to kind of maneuver out of it, like in his good luck way or something like that. I heard that one's actually pretty good.
All right, so Jacob Miller 87 said, objectively, slice of life anime isn't bad. It's just not for me, with the exception of Toradora. See, even the people who do not like slice of life love Toradora. It was just something about it. And I appreciate you living your truth out here, Jacob. Like, and telling how you truly feel. Because in this day and age, a lot of people will kind of shun you for not liking what they like. For an example, One Piece. Uh, it's cool to hate One Piece, but we're not going to go down that rabbit hole right now. You can see in the background, Sociopath Batman loves One Piece. I like One Piece as well. I just don't want to go down that rabbit hole. There's some similar to Toradora. One's called My Teen Love Comedy Snafu. It's pretty good, pretty bad. So basically, the premise of this one is the main character. He always does something bad. He makes himself the bad guy to solve issues. He doesn't use any other tactics when it comes to solving issues. All right, we have Bella Utopia says, complete novice here. This was a random click. Ignorance is not bliss. I do not want to be willfully ignorant. I want to learn. Thank you for letting it done. You like me sitting on something if you ever. No problem. We're here to, give out enemy suggestions and, you know, we're here for that. Sociopath Batman, seems like you're having issues on your side with your cam. All right, while he takes care of that, Okay, you said you seen the Big Lebowski. I am Donnie. I'm completely out of my element right now. Much love to you guys. There's no problem. Like again, if you look at Sociopath Batman, I just recommended I just recommended him a slice of life anime, and that was his first time ever watching it. So basically, what slice of life anime is it's an anime where there's a main protagonist and they're just living their normal lives, and we basically follow them on their journey into the climax of what's going on with them. So if you're a novice or not, you can Toradora. I'll type it in the chat really quickly. That's one that you can get into. This is the one that we were mainly talking about here. Let's see. So what I want to do really quickly, because I need to help Sociopath Batman get back in, I'm going to put up a video really quickly. This video is called Villain Backstories, how villain backstories are. Whoa. You got me. After all your reign of terror, I finally stopped you. You know, it was never my plan to end up this way. I don't understand. With yours, you have so much power. You could have chose good, but you decided to choose evil. Chose evil, you said? That's one way to look at it. My job here is done. I hope you find peace in the afterlife. Wait, don't you want to know how it all started? I'm listening. It all started when Dad left to go get some pizza. Oh man, he didn't come back. I feel your pain. No, he came back. He brought pepperoni, no pineapples. Wait, what's so bad about that? Pineapples give the pizza the freshness and the sweetness. But all right, you said cool beans. I would definitely have to check it out. I'm from the Stone Age completely. This is all new to me. Better late than never, though. Yeah, I mean, yeah. If you check Toradora out, it depends on what you like. For an example, when it comes to anime in itself, if you like watching particular shows or a particular movie, for an example, if I had you write me a movie or a TV show that you really liked, I could possibly give you an anime that's similar to that genre. This will give me a chance to learn a little something. Come back, other guy, come back. Right now, he's having little issues with his phone. It looks like he just made it back in. Let me add him to the stream. There you go.
Phone got too hot.
Yeah, the topic we were talking about was too hot, man. It's slice of life anime, and we were talking about truck cutting.
The phone just couldn't handle it.
I'm not sure about 20 minutes. I know Sociopath Batman will have to leave in a little bit, but we will be live streaming on this channel a lot throughout the weeks. We'll also be putting up skits, mostly on a comedy side that can relate to something that has to do with anime. So, all right. And I want to thank you guys for tuning in to BigSmootho TV. And we answered the question is slice of life anime is bad. My personal take on it is great. Sociopath Batman, as he said earlier, he said it's good, unless Sociopath Batman, if you want to say how you really feel about it now.
Well, I definitely enjoyed it. I definitely am looking forward to try to extend my um, the list of anime that I'm going to be watching to include some slice of life anime, because I definitely am interested in seeing what it holds. I think I've spent a lot of time with a lot of the fighting and the magic and the horror and the gore, and that I sometimes you just need to be able to take a breather and just watch, people just live their life. And sometimes it does. I mean, I've heard there even is some slice of life animes that do include somewhat magical elements to it and stuff, but still keep that a real enough day-to-day life feel to it that makes you feel like you don't have to be watching people constantly throwing fists and kicks and uh, blasts and whatever, at each other, and just be able to sit back and relax and enjoy, just people, just living life. I can definitely say I enjoyed Toradora. I would definitely, I mean, even with the way the last episode was, I'm definitely would be one of those ones that if I could find someone that would want to watch it with me, I'd want to watch it with them, because it's definitely one of those ones that is rewatchable. To add into that, I watched Your Name, which is a really great movie, slice of life anime movie. I watched the dub version. The voice actors were I felt like it worked really well on that one. But not only that, but the artistry, the colors, the music, the way it pulls you in from the start. It's just an absolutely beautiful movie. It puts together a really great story. By the time it ends, you're completely just hoping that everything's going to hopefully work out for you. It's just they put together such a great movie. So it's another great slice of life. If you're looking for a movie, if you're not looking to invest into an entire show right off the bat, and you just want to watch a great movie, that is a great movie to watch. It definitely will pull at the heartstrings at moments. But yeah, I mean, definitely, I'm definitely going to look to extend my list of anime to include slice of life anime now.
All right, that's good to hear. I'm kind of glad I recommended Toradora to you on that note. And with that
Yep.
being said, we're out for tonight. Thank you guys for watching, and have a peaceful rest of the day or night, wherever you are.
Or morning.